And so I sat in the box. The box was 5 by 5 by 5. Made out of 3/4-inch plywood, painted black, hermetically sealed. From inside the box, I sat on a little stool. I could not hear much outside of the box. I could not see anything in the box, except for one little tiny beam of light that came shining down on my green dress. Or gown. Robe. You see, for the last 20 years, I've been one of the people that does the musical Christmas Carol for the Pittsburgh CLO. And my first year I played Jacob Marley. The second was the third year I played Mr. Cratchit, yes, Mr. Scrooge, that kind of guy. But for the rest of the time, I have played the narrator, the businessman, the social worker, Mr. Fezziwig, and the ghost of Christmas present. It's a good gig, actually. It's really fun. and at the beginning of the second act, what happens is Scrooge is laying down center stage where he just ended up with the ghost of Christmas past. And the choir comes out on either side, and they sing 2 verses of I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. You know that song? You know that song, sir? You know? Did you? Yeah, all you can think about is the girls that were before me, can't you? Yeah, you dog, you. So, I know, how do you come up out after that? You just come on stage and the girls are like, and they're pushed in there. Okay, but I can't. Now you have a big bald man. So, have you noticed how tall Darius Chisholm is? Like, I'm 6'7" nearly, right? Darius Chisholm is just like a couple inches shorter than me. So how on TV does she seem so short? And you know that David Johnson's up on like 10 telephone books. That jag off. So, sorry. So, the choir comes out, they sing 2 verses of I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. It's a beautiful song. I heard the bells on Christmas Day. It's really beautiful. Their old familiar carols play, and wild and sweet the words repeat, of peace on earth, goodwill to men. 2 verses. And then the audience hears da 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 bong, bong. There's lights, there's smoke. The box that I'm in slowly moves down center stage. It's got a clock painted on the front, and the hands of the clock move, and there's smoke, and the box unfolds. I step out of it in my dress, and I say, I am the ghost of Christmas present. Meet me, Scrooge. It's awesome. Stage magic. But may I tell you something about being in the theater? I don't know, have you ever been in the theater? Have you ever done it on stage? See, the trouble with doing stuff on stage is that you are stuck having to be at the general, well, I don't know how to say it. You can't do anything unless the lighting people and the sound people and the guys backstage with all the props are doing their job. And here I am in this box, stuck under an entire set of stuff. I can't get out of the box myself. I need a guy to push the box out onto the stage. I need a guy to lift the lid on the box so that I can push out the front door, step out, and do my thing. I'm in a dress, yeah. That's the problem with acting, generally. You just, you know, you're stuck. Somebody else has your life in their hands. I heard about a theater group years ago that toured around the Midwest doing the Passion Play. What they would do is the story of Jesus, and just go from town to town, go into little theaters or high schools or spaces like this, do the Passion Play, and then ask people locally to play different characters. Maybe they get some local kids from the school to play all the kids. Jesus says, "Suffer the little children to come unto me," and then get all those little kids there. Or maybe they need some farmers. They go to a local farmer and get a sheep or goat or get something to come on stage. Awesome. And then they would get local people to run the lights and to run the props and to do the curtains and all that mess. this group got to Warren, Ohio, and they went to the local high school. And the local janitor of the high school, they put him in charge of the props. And this guy was one of these good old guys. I mean, you know, 800 or 900 years old, worked in the school forever. And he was one of these Depression-era guys. My father was a Depression-era guy, worked in the steel mills, right? And this was sort of like his mantra. You do your job. You do it the best you can. You hear me? Sir, where are you? There, out there. You do your job. You do it the best you can. And to my dad, he could do anything. My dad could do anything. You know, the furnace would break, he'd go downstairs with a chipmunk and a rubber band and that thing would be going again. The chipmunks would go. It's awesome. So he's one of these guys. You know, you fix stuff around your house, you fix anything. You just take what you have and you make it work. I love that. And so they put him in charge of the props, and he got the props, and they'd already been on tour a couple months, and the props didn't look that good. They, you know, what happens in a show is things wear down, right? Because they're using it the same way every night. And so he took those props home, you know, to the workshop in his basement, and he began to paint all the little things, you know, make them all look good again. Shields and the hats, you know, the shiny hats and the spears, you know. He had a grinding wheel in his basement, and he took those spears, those Roman spears, and he just ground those things down. Sharp, oh baby, they look good. Because remember, you do your job. You do it the best you can. I don't trust you, by the way. He's just like, I hope those girls come back out. Here he is. So tall. Okay, so it's the first night of the show in Warren, Ohio, and the show's going great. You know, the main actors that play all the characters are doing great, and the little kids they bring are great, and the cow came off, and yeah, that's good. So things, I don't know why I did that actually. Who was the first guy that ever said, yeah, let's pull on those things and drink what comes out? Really seemed like a smart thing. Look, round things came out of the back of that chicken. Let's eat that. So, Jerry Seinfeld up here, what is it? So, the show's going great, they're doing really well, until it came to a place where the crucifixion is, the crucifixion part of the play. And you've got Jesus on a cross in the middle, they've got it all set up really nicely, they don't have to really nail him to it, you know, they stage magic. And they have a thief on either side of them, it's going really well, but then it comes to the place in the story where they've got to check to see whether Jesus and the two thieves on either side have died. And so they had big rubber clubs, you know? You come out stage, you pretend to break the legs of the thieves, because that's how the story goes. Read your Bible. I don't trust you. Break the legs, and they don't need to break Jesus' legs. They break legs so that it's hard to breathe then. They're hanging there, it's hard to breathe. And so they decide Jesus looks dead already, so they're going to take a spear and shove it to Jesus' side. Now, the actor, using the spear, had a very special spear. Stage magic. It was a rubber-tipped spear. It was, you know, it looked like it was shiny and hard, but it wasn't. It was rubber. And all he had to do was take the spear and push it against the side of the actor playing Jesus, and it would sort of, and it looked like it would stab him. Ooh. And there was one extra thing. You see, inside there was a little bladder of fake blood. Yeah? And so when he pushed it against the side of the guy playing Jesus, he'd push it, the little spear would push over a little bit, and there'd be a little of blood. Just a little. There's always somebody in the audience and you go, and they go. It's amazing, isn't it? You can be 7, you know, you're 89 years old. So, the actor who played the soldier went back to the stage. The stage guy who was in charge of the props, the old guy, you do your job, you do it the best you can. He handed him the wrong spear. He did not know. He wanted to see one of his lovely new spears go out on the stage. And so he passed it to the actor. The actor went to the middle of the stage. He noticed that the spear end didn't look quite right. Too shiny, maybe. Oh, well. He lifted it up. He placed it on the side of Jesus. And he pushed. He didn't have to push hard. Yeah, the rubber tip would just, he didn't have to push hard. So he pushed. And two things happened. Jesus, who usually was pretty quiet by this time. Jesus went, You really don't want Jesus going, The next thing, though, there was no of blood. And so the actor playing the soldier pushed harder. Jesus went, whoa! And an ambulance showed up, and Jesus was taken out on a gurney. Part of the story you don't usually hear. Jesus and the gurney. So, luckily, now, Jesus had an understudy. It's good. It's an important thing for you guys to know. Usually, when you go to a show, a big show, you go to New York, every actor on stage has an understudy. Somebody who can take their place. You just, you're walking along and, I hurt myself. That did kind of hurt, didn't it? It's amazing to see a huge man fall on the floor, isn't it? Look, she's happy. I don't really like you, but that's okay. So, I'm kidding. Love you. No, hate you. Okay, so there's an understudy, and the understudy is, the understudy for Jesus, he's a good actor. He knows his lines. The deal is that he didn't quite look the part. When you see Jesus in shows, you see him in a play, you see the same guy has been playing Ted, somebody, has been playing Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar over the country for 5,000 years. Jesus, if you ever see this, in Jesus Christ Superstar, the guy, Ted Neely, he's 73 years old. Jesus is still alive. But he's old. So, this actor looked like you expect Jesus to look. The guy that got hurt. He had beautiful hair, long, shoulder length, parted in the middle. And in my church, they have, Jesus looks good. He's strong and spelled, looks like a carpenter. He's got the perfect little beard and the blue, piercing eyes and the straight nose. He looked great. But his understudy looked different. How do I put this? He was a beefier Jesus. Just a little thicker. But that's okay. I don't care. Personally, I don't care. The Bible never describes what Jesus looks like, and I kind of like that, right? It says in the Old Testament that Jesus, he wasn't the kind of person you looked at and went, yeah, wow, he's a looker. You might have just passed him by. And I like to think that maybe Jesus looked like anybody in this room. There's my sermon for the night. So, beefy Jesus. He got to the place in the play, things were going great. He knew it. He resurrected well. He's on the road to Emmaus. It's fantastic. He looks great. He meets the disciples in the upper room. He says, look at that. And he sees Mary in the garden and all that stuff. It's going fantastic until it gets to the ascension. He is a beefier Jesus. And see, the way they did this is Jesus would say the commission, the last commission, whatever they call it, and he says this big speech on the side of the mountain, all his disciples were there, and he says, and go ye therefore in all the world, make disciples, baptize in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and lo, I am with you always. And while he was saying the speech, like an angel would just sort of saunter up behind him and hook a line onto the back of him. And he's saying, lo, I am with you always. His arms would go out. He'd begin to lift up to the sky, there'd be clouds, there'd be angels. Stage magic. This was a beefier Jesus. Now, may I tell you that I personally have, I've flown. Biggest, can you imagine somebody having to pull a rope with me on stage to try to lift me up? I'm big. And I did this show. It was, a big deal for me. I was one of the stars of Pittsburgh CLO's Casper the Friendly Ghost, the musical. Hold your applause. It's okay. I know. just couldn't get it. Why would I do a musical about a dead kid? You know, I don't get it. And so cast for the musical, and I played one of the uncles. There are 3 uncles: Stinky, Fatso, and Stretch. And so I was Stretch, and the star of the show was not Casper. No, the star of the show was the villain, and the villain was played by Cheetah Rivera. Oh yeah, Cheetah Rivera. She's awesome. Again, Cheetah back then was like 67 years old, you know, and she'd come on stage and her legs up, and amazing. She could dance anybody off the stage. Fantastic. Love her. And so they would do this huge scene at the end of the Act 1. She would sing this beautiful song, and there'd be a bunch of people dancing around her, and halfway, near the very end of the song, us 3 uncles would sneak out on the stage. We'd have lines attached to us. She would sing the last note, ah! We would rise up into the air. We would say, boo! Everybody on stage would go, ah! Run off, and then we would fly off laughing. Like that. I was so excited. It's the first time I got to fly, right? Opening night, and Cheetah Rivera says, oh, amazing. She's dancing. And then she hits her big last note, oh, I'm ready, and I go on stage, I rise up in the air, we go, boo! Everyone on stage runs off the stage, except for Cheetah Rivera, and the other 2 ghosts fly off laughing. I'm just hanging there. Cheetah says, get off the stage. I said, I can't. They put a spotlight on me. Cheetah Rivera says, will you get off the stage? I said, I'm thinking happy thoughts. Eventually, I look backstage, the guys are pulling the ropes, and I begin to move. But not like I'm flying, it's just like this. I hit the wall. I knock a chandelier off the set. I hit the light tower. I go off stage finally, the audience goes crazy. Cheetah Rivera runs backstage, she looks at me, she says, we're gonna do that every night. So Beefy Jesus, he's ready. Thing is, it's a counterweight system. You have to have enough weight backstage to counter the weight on stage. And so they have, you know, it's easy for them to pull you up into the air. And so he does a speech. Go ye therefore into all the world, make disciples, baptize in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and lo, I am with you always. And they pulled the rope, and Beefy Jesus went. But he's a smart actor. He's a smart actor. And so he realized what happened. Oh, I'm beefier. I know you get it. And so he decides, so they can get ready, he says the speech over again, but this time slower. And he decides that just at the very end, he's going to jump a little bit to help him out. And so meanwhile, the guys backstage are putting on, they don't know how much Beefy Jesus weighs. They're putting on as much weight as they possibly can. Everything they can find, small children, ducks, anything. Beefy Jesus says the whole speech slower this time. At the very end, he says, and lo, I am with you always. He puts out his arms, and Beefy Jesus shot in the air. Like a bullet. The audience heard a thud. And 2 sandals fell from the sky. I was in the box. It was 1993, and the producer, a guy named Charlie Gray, said, you know, you wish I had smoke coming out of that box. That'd be great. The smoke came out of that box with him. Yeah, no. I don't know why producers need to sound that way, but they all do. Edward G. Robinson, they're all, yeah. Edward G. Robinson cracks me up. You ever see the Ten Commandments? Charlton Heston, you know, that many people do. Sorry, cut myself up. And Edward G. Robinson's his brother-in-law, right? And so there's a place where everybody's really, you know, if things are going crazy and they've made the idol, right, the golden calf, and everything's going crazy. Moses comes down, he's really mad, and he breaks the tablets, and Edward G. Robinson looks up at him and he goes, where's your God now? Are there some famous people that probably shouldn't be in Bible stories? My favorite one is the greatest story ever told, you know. And Jesus is on the cross, and Jesus says the last thing he says. He says, it is finished, you know, and it is finished. And he let go of his spirit, and he died. And there's a soldier right below him. And the soldier looks up, and it's John Wayne, and he says, surely this was the Son of God. That just don't seem right. So Charlie Gray says, I want smoke from out of that box. So they took my box and they drilled a 4-inch hole and they attached to it a hose, like a hose like you have out of your dryer. The hose went back to a huge drum. The drum is an oil drum, and it's full of water and full of dry ice, and it's compressing it and stirring it. And the dry ice is carbon dioxide. Trees breathe that stuff. Not people! And so it makes smoke, and the smoke is going down there, and so I know opening night smoke is going to be in my box. Deathly killing smoke. And I'm in my box, in my dress, my cornucopia, in a wig, garden, and I'm waiting. Sometimes I would sing to the choir. Got to the first verse. Got to the first verse and decided, you know, I don't really know when the smoke is coming. And so I decided to take a deep breath. I took a deep breath. And there was no oxygen in my box. You know, we tell kids if you catch bugs and put them in a jar, you poke holes in the lid. Not for me. And I'm in the box, and there's no oxygen, and I can't breathe. And I think, how am I going to breathe? I'm a big man. I'm dying. I'm going to be dead. And so I think, oh, I don't want to pinprick the hole. Remember the light coming down my rope? I'm going to try to get some oxygen from there. So I put my mouth into the hole, and but that's not enough oxygen for a big man. And so I'm dying. I don't know what to do. I've got to tell them I'm dying in a box. There's still another verse. And so I begin to pound. They said it sounded just like that. They could hear it. The stagehands are backstage going, what's he doing out here? Hey, we know how to do our job and that. Hand me that donut. Yeah, they got them from John Eagle. They're real good. Yeah, floors down there are immaculate. So I'm pounding the box, and it sounds like this. And I am dead. It's just like it's like in the movies. They say that, you know, tunnel of light, and then you're dead. I was dead. And I sang the second verse of I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day, and Audience saw da 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 bong, bong. The box unfolded from the set. It moved down to the center of the stage. The lid popped open, the front opened, and I was like this. The audience began to make that noise. You know, what's that? You think that guy's dead? I don't know. The rest of the choir had already left. The only person on stage was Scrooge, played by Edmund Lindeck. He's like 85 now. He's a wonderful man. He originated the role of Judge Turpin on Broadway in Sweeney Todd. Fantastic guy. And he's doing this. And then somebody said, Ed, what were you doing? He said, I didn't know whether to help you or to go pee myself. A stagehand finally came onto the stage. They dressed the stagehands up to look like they were from Edwardian England, right? So they'd have a black t-shirt on and tails and a top hat. This guy comes on. Of course, he's got a black t-shirt on that said Megadeth on it. He walked to the center of the stage, he put his hand on my back, and he pushed. I fell face forward onto the ground. The stagehand walked off the stage. I don't remember any of this. I don't remember a single thing about this, except that they said eventually, from this, I got up on like all fours, right? And I begin to crawl down. They don't stop the show. No. I'm crawling down center stage. Eventually, I stand up. Remember this. Don't remember any of it. Remember, I'm wearing a dress. I stand up. I'm still holding the cornucopia. Always a professional. I lifted my head up, and this is when I woke up. Edmund Lindeck Scrooge said, "Are you the ghost of Christmas present?" I said, "I'm the ghost of Christmas present." And then I threw up. Stage magic. With corn. Thanks for listening to my story.